Brendan Walton is the managing director of a family-run business here in Maidstone, BJW Computers Ltd, who sell and manufacture ink for your printer. Brendan was interviewed recently by Downs Mail about the trouble he, as a small and medium-sized enterprise, is having sending and receiving goods from Europe since we formally left the EU single market earlier this year. And Brendan joins us now. Hello, Brendan. Thanks for your time.
Hi, Jason. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you. I know that in your article, you spoke to a lot of small to medium companies who are having real issues at the moment exporting and getting stuff from Europe. Just to start with, can you tell me or tell us a bit about what you're exporting so we can put it into context?
Okay. We basically make toner cartridges and copier cartridges. So we're exporting finished cartridges and importing parts for those cartridges. The difficulty is both ways, both importing and exporting, of enormous delays. We're not in days, we're actually in weeks. A prime example would be Poland is now anything up to a 1 month transit time from what was 4 days.
Wow, so that's a massive gap. And when did this first become a problem?
As soon as we left the common market. The problem was exacerbated by the delays at Dover just before Christmas with the COVID testing, but that was all to do with COVID. That was resolved. The minute we left on the 1st of January, the issues started.
And so how did that materialize? What started? What did it look like? What was actually happening?
The initial problem was getting stuff out of the country. If you wanted to remove a parcel or a pallet out of the country, you had to fill in the documentation. The problem was there was no guides, help or information given by the government to fill in the documentation. The government were telling every business to prepare. But unfortunately, the only thing they weren't doing is telling us what to prepare for. We had no idea exactly what we needed. Nobody had any idea. I regularly rang various people in the haulage and distribution business and got told exactly the same thing. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to prepare for. We don't know. We need Boris's deal. We don't know what that might be. We don't know what this entails. We can't tell you. We don't know. The only thing everybody knew was that we would need what they call an EORI number or EORI number, which we applied for, were given. It's very similar to a VAT number, but it is slightly different and you do need to apply. What we weren't told is in the Northern Ireland deal, you would need an XI EORI number. That was a bit of a shock. Nobody saw that one coming. So lots of companies became unstuck at that point. And effectively, from the 1st of January, without your XI EORI number, it's actually a customs procurement code.
Whilst you're doing all this, are you getting a backlog of deliveries building up, and are you getting a backlog of orders being stuck?
Huge, because if we have a delay of needing a component to finish an order, what would have been a 2 or a 4 day delay has turned into unknown delay up to 4, maybe 5 weeks, because nobody knows how long that this part might be to come into the country.
And what about the customers then? What are you saying to your customers? Because obviously this is then having a knock-on effect and ordering stuff.
We have to be honest. We have to be honest. We have to say we don't have it. We have to say there will be a delay. We don't know how long the delay will be. This obviously leads to a loss in orders because people don't want to wait in an undisclosed amount of time. They also don't want to wait an undisclosed amount of time for goods leaving the country. So when we have eventually managed to get a courier to take the product away, we could be looking at weeks to clear UK customs. And I mean weeks. We have orders sitting in UK customs for 3 weeks waiting to clear. This is, I am told, due to not enough sufficiently trained staff to be able to operate the system. Also, the computer system they are using was built in 1980, way before the internet even existed.
Why do you think this isn't getting national traction? Here you are, small business, small to medium business, struggling, really struggling. And obviously, the Downs Mail picked up on it. We're picking up on it. But nationally, it's not getting the coverage.
Okay, there is one reason, or two reasons perhaps. The first main reason is the fact that if you are a very large organization, be it a supermarket or something akin to that, you move entire HGV trailers, or containers of your product. At this point, your product is cleared at the dock. This process is taking 2 hours, but it's not taking weeks. That's because the supermarket owns everything inside the trailer. Everything is under their control. The problem is all small business to medium businesses have to use what they call groupage, which is effectively lots of companies getting together and having a lorry that deliver the product for them. We don't individually speak to each other, but this is effectively what the parcel operators or the pallet operators do on our behalf. They may have, if you took pallets, for example, a lorry will hold 60 pallets, a double stacker. I would estimate the average number of consignments in that lorry will be 40. So that's 40 different companies having product inside that lorry. That would require that it's just impossible to clear it at dock, because that would be 40 different clearances just for that lorry on its own. So that lorry then now travels back to a hub, a distribution hub or a warehousing hub, and then sits and waits for customs to clear those products. That period of time is between 2 to 3 weeks.
And in the meantime, you don't have any clue either as to how quick those goods...
No information whatsoever to how long that process may take. The next problem that comes is the warehouses are only so big, and what is now happening is there is nowhere to unload the lorries as they come in, and so the product is sitting on trailers. This is the HGV trailer that it comes in on, because the warehouse is physically full, because they're waiting for the customs to clear the stuff in the warehouse, and then the trailers fill up.
And I guess the danger is that your customers in Europe or anywhere else, I guess, might decide, well, hold on a second, I can't use this company because I can't be guaranteed that I'll get the product.
Absolutely. This is exactly what's happening. Us as a company, we are now looking for suppliers which are not in Europe. We're looking for distributors which may have product in Korea or in China or wherever it may be, because it's far quicker to get the product brought across on a plane from the destination country to you, believe it or not, often through Europe, because it doesn't get stopped at customs inside Europe, the new customs system, and therefore it's quicker for it to be done that way. We can bring a parcel from China to ourselves in about 4 days, but if you ask me to bring one from France, I would have to tell you 2 weeks, and probably 3.
Is this the same both sides of the channel then?
Yes, this is now happening both sides. If I took an example of a pallet, it was booked onto the system to be customs cleared 2 weeks ago, Wednesday, gone. It eventually was cleared UK side to leave. It was picked up. It then went to the Netherlands and is now sat in the Netherlands and will now be delivered tomorrow. So that's roughly 2.5 weeks. That's not a bad one, to be fair, but bear in mind, before the 1st of January, that was a 2-day transit time.
How much blame, I mean, you may not want to attach blame, but how much blame do you attach to Europe, and how much blame do you attach to our government, our side, just not getting it right?
I don't think they understood the deal in its entirety. I don't think we understood the deal either. The problem was, all of this process should have had a transition period. We were promised a transition period. We got no transition period. It didn't happen. There were no trials. There was no transmission. Unbelievable that this has happened. And unfortunately, it's received no media press because of the groupage system only affecting the small business enterprise. Because I said, the larger companies can bring entire trailers through. If that wasn't the case, we would have run out of food. It'd be that simple. There'd be nothing in the shop.
For toilet paper, which would be the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah. The basics, going back to the toilet paper, there probably wouldn't be any. If it has to come in from Europe, it probably wouldn't be here. And that's the problem. The customs issues are very expensive as well to deal with. Each parcel now has to go through customs. There is a charge for each and every parcel that moves. There is a charge for each and every pallet that moves. You know, everything's become a lot more expensive, to the point that a lot of companies, the small to medium companies, have now withdrawn from selling into Europe because they can't deal with the paperwork. You know, they haven't got the time to deal with the paperwork behind the problems.
What does the light at the end of the tunnel look like for you?
Hopefully not very far away at the moment, because I want to be optimistic. I don't know if there is a light at the moment. We make minute steps forward, would be what I would say. The sad thing is our customers in Europe are probably also looking for different suppliers that happen to actually be able to ship the product to them in a sensible period of time.
If people want to find out more or order some of your products, where would they go?
Well, we have a website. It's tonerman.co.uk. So we're locally based. We're only based in Maidstone ourselves. Welcome to have a look at that. Basically, what we tend to supply is laser toner cartridges. That's our business. We do still have stock of most things. We are trying our absolute hardest. I reckon I spend between 3 to 4 hours a day trying to get product in the front door, so we can supply people. So people don't think we haven't got anything, because that isn't the case. We're trying our absolute best.
Brendan, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Jason. Take care.